Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Ryan here, aka Say It With Me, Blackbeard TCG. And in today's, before I get to that, I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. And if not, hopefully I can make it a little bit better. Now, look, I know today's not episode 5. Today we're just going to be taking a look at all of the Blackbeard cards in OP10. I'm going to give you guys my first reaction to it. Obviously, we read the Kuan in episode 4. So that's the only one that I know. The rest I don't know. So we're going to go through that in this video. This one's going to be a shorter video because, I mean, you guys can look. I've been dropping like 30-minute videos, 40-minute videos, 50-minute videos, heck, even a 1 hour long video. Today will be a little bit shorter. Leave in the comment section down below what your guys' thoughts are on Blackbeard overall in OP10, but then also about the cards in OP10 and which ones do you think are really going to pop off. I'm really curious about your guys' thoughts. We're going to get into it. In episode 5, I will be reading the comments on episode 4 as well as the comments in this video. So I'm really curious about your thoughts, and hopefully you guys can let me know some tech so that way I can go ahead and start preparing for OP10, even though I really got to focus on OP9. I mean, how can you not get excited, right? So let's jump into it. So I just searched by all the black cards and I see that there's an Usopp leader, which is crazy. I'm not even going to click on that because honestly, quite frankly, I don't care. Shout out to all the Usopp lovers. Shout out to everybody that loves Usopp. But you know what I love? I love the Blackbeard Pirate. So let's go ahead and take a look at Kuan. So we read this in our last video. By the way, this art looks trash. I mean, this is a good way to pay to win. And by that, I mean, it's a good way to have people spend money on the alt art when the base art looks kind of dookie. I'm going to be honest. It looks a little bit dookie. I mean, look, man. Hey, I'm not made out of money, so hey, I just might have 4 copies of these. But if I can't afford it, I mean, the alt art looks fire, so I would much rather have the alt arts. I mean, most people would say that for most cards. But anyways, this Kuan cannot leave the field. Actually, let's just read it exactly from the direct translation, and then we can kind of make use of, make sense of what it's saying. I do this all in one take, you feel me? Okay, this character does not leave the place due to the effect of the opponent. So I'm assuming this means this card cannot leave the field due to the effects of your opponent, which is really good because that's a lot of way that cards are being removed these days. You can place this character in the trash, draw a card. After that, you could use up to 1 card from your trash that has Blackbeard Pirate trait with a cost of 5 or less other than Kuan. So basically, from what I'm reading from this, and we kind of talked about it in the last video, you can use Kuan, you can swing with him, do whatever, then you can trash him, draw a card, so he replaces himself by drawing, right? So like he leaves the field, you've already swung with him or done whatever, but now you get to draw a card, which is blessed, which is obviously going to work very nice with your full lead island, which is going to work very nice with your leader ability, right? Being able to draw that extra card. We already know that drawing cards and Blackbeard is so important because we're always pitching cards for our leader ability, so that's lit. But then after that, you can go ahead and bring up a Burgess from the grave, from the trash, right? And have him be all beefy, right? You can go ahead and bring up a Von Augur and then rest that in -3 and then do some shenanigans with Liberation or do some shenanigans with Finger Gun or whatever that move is called. I think it's Finger Gun. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this card's absolutely cracked, and I'm curious to see how many copies people are going to play. Obviously, this one doesn't have counter, but the thing is because you can search so easily with this deck, right, through It's My Age, through Hashinotsu, through Lafitte, right? I'm curious to see how many copies people ultimately decide to play with this, especially because your opponent's going to have to basically swing into this if you don't use the leader ability, right? They're not going to be able to just get it off the board. So it could just stick, and then whenever you're ready to swing with it and then use the ability, then you can go ahead and do that, right? So I really like this. I think this card is lit. I think this is very, very good. We got Szechuan Wolf, man. Szechuan Wolf is a 5 cost, 7k body. Unfortunately, I don't think that Szechuan Wolf will see any play at all. Then we got another Burgess. We got another Jesus Burgess here. So Dressrosa / Blackbeard Pirate. So he's going to be a part. Oh, well, this is the Dressrosa from. Or this is the Dressrosa. This is the Jesus Burgess from the Dressrosa arc, right? Like back during the tournaments and everything. So, yeah, 5 cost, 6,000 power with 1 Dawn attached. If you have 8 or more trash, this card will get haste, which is rush. So I think that's pretty cool, especially considering that it's 5 cost, 6,000 power. That can open up some interesting gameplays, right? When you're trying to go for lethal, maybe you could try to go ahead and use your Kuan, swing with Kuan, do whatever you got to do, then use Kuan ability, trash it, draw a card, go ahead, bring out your Burgess. By that point of the game, I'm hoping that you have at least 8 cards in trash. You attach 1 Dawn to this, it's 7,000 power with haste. I mean, I could definitely see this adding some more lines of play for some more lethal, but the thing is that this has no counter. So I'm curious to see how people build their decks. You know, we already don't really use that many 2K. I mean, we have a lot of 2K counters in the deck per se, but you know, sometimes in the early game you trash them and things like that. So I'm curious to see how much these cards not having counter matters. However, I could see Burgess potentially having play, right? Like, there's lines of play where you can go for lethal with this. I think that this is really strong, especially because it could just come from the trash. And the one thing that I like even more about Kuan, by the way, let me just go back to glazing Kuan just a little bit, even though this art is trash. Like, it makes you feel a lot more confident when you do have Burgess from OP9, OP09, or when you do have those Von Augers, and you got to throw them in the trash, right? Because now you know, okay, if I have my Kuan, I could always just bring it back and play for free. So, like, just having that mindset alone will allow you to throw away other cards, or will allow you to throw away those cards versus other cards that you might won't do now, right? Like, now you might not throw away that Burgess because Burgess in OP09 is one of your win cons, right? Like, you want that guy to be beefy. You want him to be able to stick on the board and do damage, right? And now you might be like, okay, early game I can go ahead and toss this because I can just bring it back to life late game when I actually need him, when he's actually online. So yeah, this Kuan for me is just nuts. Kuan's absolutely nuts. This Burgess is like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if no one runs this, but I also wouldn't be surprised if people play a copy or two, and if it gets in the trash, and then you can go ahead and bring it out and play for and have a lethal line or whatever. I think that's fine, but I don't think it's all that. Especially, I mean, it's a tough act to follow when we're coming from Kuan, and obviously Szechuan Wolf did my boy dirty, bro. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Shiru. So 4 cost 5,000 power. So we already have Shiru from OP09, which is just the 2K counter. But now we have Shiru once again in OP10. Now, it's unfortunate. I really wish that Shiru would have been a super rare because then we probably would have gotten an alt art. I really want to see a Shiru alt art. He's so cool, such a cool character. But with that being said, it's a rare, which means that he'll be cheap, which is good for your boy. When you broke like me, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and read the ability. On your opponent's turn, this card has plus 2,000 power. I already think that's crazy. So it's a 4 cost 7,000 power body on your opponent's turn. It has counter, right? So right off the bat, I feel like that's already lit. But then activate main once per turn. If your leader is a Blackbeard Pirate, obviously we're playing Blackbeard. This character, and this character is played this turn, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with an original cost of 3 or less. So obviously you won't be able to neg the abilities or neg the cost and then be able to play Shiru and then pop it because it has to have an original cost of 3 or less. But this is going to be really good for when you want to get those chump blockers off board and things like that. But more importantly, I feel like just having another body on board that you can swing with that's going to be 7k on defense, I feel like this card is pretty damn good. I'm excited for this card. Again, when I try to think about how Blackbeard's played, I'm trying to think how this would fit in though, right? Because right now, the way that people are playing Blackbeard is really trying, at least from my understanding of it and the videos that I've watched and my learning and the games that I've played, is you really want to harp in and focus on controlling the board, right? Using your liberations, using your dot Q, using Von Augur to reduce cost, things like that, finger gun, all that stuff, right? You really want to control the board, and then you want to be able to go for game with your 10 cost beard with your Burgess. So I'm trying to see where this Shiru finds its place within that play style. I don't know, better players will figure it out for me, and maybe, you know, after seeing some of your comments, you guys can let me know where you guys think that this Shiru fits in. But I mean, like, 4 cost 7,000 power on defense, 5k body on offense, can go ahead and KO something on board as well. I feel like this is a good card. Again, it's not Kuan, but I think it's a good card. IMO. Okay, we got a bunch of other Dressrosa stuff. This is not a Blackbeard card. I think this is the last Blackbeard card here. And wait, don't we already have an event called Liberation? Huh. All right, well, this is also called Liberation, but it's 6 costs. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I guess it's not a problem because I swear we have like 2 Red Rocks or something like that. Or no, we have like 2 Fire Fists, if I'm right. I don't know. I'm pretty sure in red. I don't know. This was way back. OPO5 days, OPO4 days. I don't know anymore. But anyways, this Liberation, if your character is 2 or more less than your opponent's character. Okay, I'm not sure what that means if it's translated, but if your character is 2 or more less than your opponent's characters. So I'm guessing if you have 2 or less characters than your opponent, you will KO up to one of your opponent's original characters with a cost of 6 or less and one character with a cost of 4 or less. Okay, that seems... Oh, and it has a trigger, by the way. So trigger, disable the effect of one of your opponent's leaders or characters during this turn. So that is obviously really good in itself. But, okay, this is actually really good. Now, I haven't faced any Dofi, as you guys have seen in my videos and things like that. Even when I'm playing off my videos, I haven't faced any Dofi yet. But I've heard that Dofi is this deck's roughest matchup because Dofi can just flood the board. And we all know Blackbeard struggles when your opponent goes wide. So this is going to allow you to be able to kind of control the board for just 6 Dawn. Because, you guys have seen when I played, and there's all those times where I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to spend 4 Dawn on Laboon and then 4 Dawn on Liberation to pop, or 4 Dawn and 4 Dawn with Laboon and Finger Gun and things like that, and that just KOs 1. Now we get a Liberation where we can KO 2, and not only that, sure, you have to have less than 2, or you have to have 2 or more less cards than your opponent characters on the board. But I feel like with Blackbeard, that happens a lot of times, especially in the early game anyway, because they're going to be swinging into your dot queue because they don't want you to continue to pop things when you reduce their cost. They're going to swing into Lafitte because they don't want you to have a free draw in which you can pitch for your leader ability for Full Lead Island and things of that nature, right? So those cards are going to be off the board. And then you have to think about what other cards do you really play in that early to mid game time slot, right? You're really going to play, what's that card called? Von Augur. But that's about it, right? So by the time you have that 6 Dawn and you want to start really controlling the board because they're going to be threatening your life and stuff like that, boom, you can go ahead and KO a 6 cost or less and a 4 cost or less. I think that this card is absolutely nuts. Now again, how many copies you run will be interesting. I'm not the best at math, but I'm going to be curious to see how many copies people play because this is 6 Dawn. It's a very, very powerful card, IMO. But I'm curious because it's so searchable. That I wonder how many copies do you actually run in order to be able to see it enough do you need? Like, is this just a straight up 4 of, like, no debate, no discussion, whatever, or is this maybe a 3 of, right? Because it's searchable and things like that. So I'll be really curious. So for me, man, Sashron Wolf, sorry, you're at the bottom. After that, it's got to be the Burgess, then Shiru, then it has to be Liberation, and then Kuan. So reverse that order. So Kuan and Liberation are the 2 cards that I'm the most hyped for so far. Of course, I'm still grinding with my OP10 stuff, and I want to get really good at that. But man, it feels good to just know, to just have that in your mind, have that idea that it's only going to get better, that there's better things coming. So yeah, it's a good time to be a Blackbeard fan. OP10's almost here in English, so I'm excited for that, to be able to have physical cards again in my hand and actually play with physical cards. That's going to be great. OP10, once that comes out, we'll get to see what all our homies in Asia are cooking up, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But also, one other thing on the side too is I love how these cards say Blackbeard Pirates trait, right? Things like that. That gets me excited. That shit gets me happy because it's one of those things where I'm like, hey man, a Shiru leader is coming down the road. A Katarina Devon leader is coming down the road, right? I don't know if it's going to be only black or if it's going to be mixed with another color, but you guys know whether it's Blackbeard or a Blackbeard Pirates character, I'm all on that. That's my main deck, right? It's Blackbeard and the Blackbeard Pirates, and that's what I'm rocking with. Now that Blackbeard's here, that's all my mind is focused on, and his crew, we rocking with it. So I'm excited for whenever those leaders come. So it's a good time to be a Blackbeard fan, man. It's a good time to be a Blackbeard fan. But let me know in the comment section below, everybody. What are your thoughts on the cards in OP10? What do you think is broken? What do you think is not? But then also let me know your thoughts on Blackbeard overall as well with these new cards. I'm going to go ahead and read everything as I normally do in episode 5. You could catch up episode 5 tomorrow. And I'm out. Peace.